Hey, my name is Lily, and I'm here to show you a tutorial on this here look. Getting right into it with the skin prep, I started with a nice layer of moisturizer and quickly began to define under my eyebrows in order to create the perfect base for my eyeshadow. Here I'm using the P. Louise base to just carve out the underneath and basically completely cover the lid so that it's a smooth, even surface and my eyeshadow will not only have the best pigment possible, but it will also last longer. I usually blend this out completely and then set it with a powder. P. Louise herself says that you do not need to set her base with a powder, but for me, I just find that I like things a little bit more blown out, so the powder helps diffuse. So I'm going in with this ColourPop palette, immediately starting with this light blue and kind of just building up that coverage in the inner portion of my eye so that I can go in with some more colors and dimension and really blend that all together. So here you can see me using this deeper blue, kind of helping it transition into that lighter blue. And then here in a second, I'm going to go in with a deep purple and transition into that. My goal here is to create a cut crease that goes from light blue to deep blue to purple, so it's really about just going back and forth, blending the colors out, and making sure you have that seamless transition. So you will see me going back and forth until everything looks good. So every other color you add, you have to go back and blend. Since I'm gonna go ahead and clean up under this after I'm done, I'm not too worried about the shape underneath or the fallout because with a Q-tip and micellar water, you can quickly turn it into whatever shape you want it to be. So after that, I go back in with the P. Louise paint with her brush and just carve out that cut crease once again to make sure it's nice and sharp. Now, this is something you definitely want to be more precise with when you go over the edge because it's really going to stand out against all that color. So you can definitely see me here making sure that I adjust the little corners and make sure everything looks smooth, round, and even. If you have more hooded eyes, this is especially difficult because it's going to look so different when you look down, when you raise your eyebrows, when you open your eyes. I know I'm queen of raising my eyebrows to do this, and then when I release, I'm like, that's not the same shape it was. So try to just look forward while you originally map it out to make sure that you really get that right shape. I decided to add basically a connecting wing, so I went back in with that purple, the deeper blue, and then the light blue to create that same transition that we have on the top. Using a small brush and precise motions will make sure that you get the eyeshadow where you want it to so that you still have that nice clean shape. The underneath also gets cleaned up with concealer. I'm using lash glue to glue down the rhinestones and giving it just enough time to dry so that it's tacky and the glue actually sticks to the rhinestones. On the outer portion, I used a more sky blue color, and then I did three on the inner portion of the eye in pink, and I decided that was enough rhinestones for the look considering how much color there already was, so I just decided to call it a day with that and added a nice blue liner so that my lashes blend in. I find that even a thin eyeliner really helps conceal the lash band and makes everything look a lot more copacetic and cohesive. Once that lash glue is tacky enough, I just pop those bad boys on, making sure to secure both of the corners in place, and this is what it should look like when you're done. For foundation today, I'm going in with this Dior foundation that one of my clients actually gave me, which happens to be my perfect shade right now. So I just kind of went in all over the face and began to blend it out with a nice dense foundation brush. For my clients, my typical foundation of choice is the Face Atelier Ultra Foundation Pro, but while I have this nice Dior foundation, we might as well use it on camera. After going in with a light and even coat, I am then going to move on to cream contour. Today I am using a Made by Mitchell cream contour and just really trying to get that into the hollows of my cheeks, underneath my jaw, and across my forehead. I find that the best spaces always come from doing your liquid and cream products first, setting everything with powder, and then going back in and adding a little bit more bronzer and blush. So I love me some cream bronzer, some cream blush, cream highlight, you name it, because it always looks so good under the makeup. It looks so natural, and once it's blended out, it looks like it's truly just coming from within. This is always the stage where my clients get scared and they're like, "What are you doing to me?" And I'm like, "Just wait. Everything's gonna blend. Trust the process. You're gonna look multi-dimensional and you're gonna look great in pictures." So once we have all that blended out, I can now go in and conceal and highlight, which is mostly gonna be done down the T-zone and under the eyes. This is an important part of the process, and you definitely should not rush it because having all your products perfectly blended out is what creates that beautiful, flawless base. And so you want to make sure that you're blending this concealer into that blush, into that bronzer, and go back and forth. If you need to add a little bit more bronzer, a little bit more concealer, whatever it is to create that perfect blend, that's just what you have to do. So it definitely takes a long time to really get that nice, solid finish. Do not rush it. Oftentimes, once the concealer is all blended out, I will go back and add a little bit more blush just to make sure I still have that proper amount of color in my cheeks. Sometimes the concealer can take that away and make you look more dead than you want to, so don't feel afraid to add more blush. Once all of that has been nice and blended, I go ahead and set under my eyes with powder and then set gently all over my face with powder as well. This is where we want to really lock in that bronzer and that blush that we put on before we set everything. So going back in the same motion that you originally put all your cream products on, I am going back in with that bronzer, that blush, and then a powdered highlighter. Again, take your time, go back and forth with the products. Sometimes if my highlight looks like too much, I'll go back over with a little more blush or a little more bronzer. You want to make sure everything's fully blended out before you move on. To put dimension back under the eye, I'm using that same deep blue shade, using a brush underneath to catch any fallout, and I'm really just helping bring the top to the bottom and then finishing it off with some nice mascara, making sure, again, it looks all cohesive. Using another Made by Mitchell product, I am just gently going through my brows and redefining them and adding some more attention back to them. I find that a lot of times when I do these more colorful and creative looks, they tend to get lost. So, unfortunately, we're doing a little bit of a 2016 brow moment, but if it has to happen, it has to happen. The way I redeem myself is by brushing out a lot of the pigment and then making sure to clean it up with the concealer. I want it to, show up, but I don't want it to look like I just drew my eyebrows on. Using the same Made by Mitchell product that I just put in my brows, I'm using this to kind of just outline my lips as a little bit of a liner, but also to add some pigment to them because I'm going to go in with a bright pink after, and I don't want it to look ridiculous. So I find that just doing this first really does help kind of balance everything out together, and you want to just softly blend them. I used my finger for this. I kind of just patted out the pigment until it looked even. Makeup is all about blending colors, blending textures, and really just seeing what you can do with what you have. So since I blended this out with my finger, I used my concealer again to clean up the edges of my lips, and this just creates a really defined shape. It makes everything look much more clean and intentional. So once the lips are properly concealed and blotted out, that is pretty much it. From this point, I just set it with some setting spray and you are good to go. Things like colors and rhinestones is what originally got me into makeup, so I love being able to do these fun creative looks and sharing them with you. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.